In the wild, lionesses often abandon their cubs if they sense any defect or weakness, leaving them to die. It's a harsh reality, but it's a common occurrence in the animal kingdom. In this case, it's unclear why the mother lioness abandoned her cub, but what's certain is that the cub was left to face the cruel reality of the wild alone. As the cub's condition worsened, its chances of survival dwindled, and it seemed like all hope was lost. The abandoned lion cub was found all alone in the wild, its mother nowhere to be seen. Without maternal care, the cub was left to fend for itself, struggling to survive in a harsh environment. Its chances of making it were slim to none, as it lacked the essential nutrients and protection that only a mother could provide. Lion cubs rely heavily on their mothers for survival, and without her, the cub was vulnerable to predators, disease, and the elements. It was clear that if the cub didn't receive immediate attention, it wouldn't make it. The sun cast long golden streaks over the vast Serengeti plains as Dr. Evelyn Carter, a seasoned wildlife biologist, navigated her rugged jeep along the dusty trails. The evening air carried the distant echoes of roaring lions, but something else caught her attention, a gathering of vultures circling low near a dried-up riverbed. Her heart clenched. Vultures never meant good news. Slowing the vehicle, she reached for her binoculars, scanning the area. Then she saw it. A tiny lion cub, barely a few months old, collapsed in the mud, its frail body twitching weakly. Scavengers crept closer, their beady eyes locked on their helpless prey. One bold vulture lunged, delivering a sharp peck to the cub's hind leg. The cub whimpered, a sound so faint it was almost lost in the wind. Without thinking, Evelyn leaped from the jeep, grabbing her medical kit. The moment she stepped forward, the vultures flapped away, hissing in frustration. She knelt beside the cub, brushing dirt from its tawny fur, feeling the weak rise and fall of its tiny chest. Its pulse was faint, but it was still alive. Whatever had happened, this cub had been abandoned. It wouldn't survive the night alone. Evelyn had to act fast. Back at the research station, Dr. Evelyn Carter worked swiftly, her hands steady despite the urgency. With the help of her assistant, Daniel, she cleaned the cub's wounds, gently wiping away the dried blood and dirt that clung to its fragile body. The cub let out a weak cry as she carefully examined its hind leg, broken, but not beyond repair. With precision, she applied a splint, wrapping the limb to stabilize it. Daniel handed her a bottle of hydration fluids, and Evelyn carefully inserted a small dropper into the cub's mouth. At first, it resisted, too weak to react, but after a few drops, its parched tongue flicked out, desperate for more. The first sign of fight. That was good. Hours turned into a long, restless night as they took turns monitoring the cub, ensuring its breathing remained steady. By dawn, as the first golden light poured through the station windows, the tiny lion stirred. Its golden eyes fluttered open, glazed with confusion, but alive. Evelyn exhaled, a small smile forming. She had saved him, but his journey was just beginning. She glanced at the cub and whispered, "You're a fighter. I'll call you Jabari, brave one." Jabari's strength returned slowly, but each day brought new challenges and victories. Dr. Evelyn Carter knew that if he had any chance of surviving in the wild, he had to learn to be a lion, not a pet. She began introducing him to controlled outdoor spaces, allowing him to feel the earth beneath his paws, the whisper of the wind in the tall grass. At first, he stumbled, his injured leg still stiff, but his instincts were undeniable. He crouched low, his golden eyes locked on a fluttering leaf, his tiny muscles tensing before he pounced clumsily forward. Evelyn and Daniel watched, smiling. He was learning, but the wild was unforgiving. One afternoon, a shadow moved in the distance. Hyenas. Their cackling laughs echoed through the research station's perimeter. Jabari froze, his small frame trembling as the scent of danger reached him. His instincts told him to run, but Evelyn stood firm, watching. This was a test. A lion had to face fear, not flee from it. Jabari let out a tiny guttural growl, uncertain but defiant. Evelyn's heart pounded. This was it. The first sign of the predator he was meant to be. His journey into the wild had truly begun. The day had finally come. Jabari was strong, his muscles lean and powerful, his golden mane beginning to grow in. He no longer moved with hesitation. He was a lion, a hunter, a survivor. Dr. Evelyn Carter knew it was time. With a bittersweet heart, she and a team of conservationists transported Jabari to a protected reserve where he would take his rightful place in the wild. As the transport cage door slowly creaked open, Jabari hesitated. His amber eyes locked onto Evelyn, searching for something familiar. For a fleeting moment, doubt flickered across his face. Then, a gust of wind carried the scent of the savannah, the scent of home. With a powerful leap, Jabari stepped out onto the earth. He sniffed the air, ears twitching at the distant roar of other lions. He was no longer a helpless cub, he was a warrior. Then, he turned to Evelyn one last time. Their eyes met in a silent farewell. Gratitude, trust, and something deeper, understanding. Then, with a flick of his tail, Jabari vanished into the tall grass. Evelyn swallowed hard, blinking back tears. He was free. He was wild. And the world had just welcomed back a king. Years had passed since Jabari vanished into the wilderness, and Dr. Evelyn Carter often wondered if he had survived. The lion's roars at night always reminded her of him, but she never expected to see him again. Until one fateful evening. While checking a remote watering hole deep in the reserve, Evelyn felt the ground tremble. A low, menacing snort echoed through the trees. She turned just in time to see a massive rhinoceros charging straight toward her. Her heart pounded. There was no time to run. The beast was closing in, its horn aimed directly at her. Then, out of nowhere, a thunderous roar split the air. From the tall grass, a lion, a fully grown muscular male with a golden mane, emerged at full speed. He collided with the rhino, baring his fangs, forcing the beast to halt. The two giants faced off in a tense standoff, the air crackling with raw energy. Evelyn gasped. The scar on his leg, the piercing golden eyes, it was Jabari. As the rhino retreated, Jabari turned to her. For a long moment, they simply stared at each other, two souls forever connected by fate. Then, with one last, lingering gaze, Jabari disappeared back into the wild, his duty fulfilled. Months had passed since Jabari returned to the wild, yet his presence still lingered in Dr. Evelyn Carter's thoughts. Reports from rangers painted a picture of his new life, strong, thriving, and ruling his own territory. She had long accepted that she might never see him again. But fate had other plans. One late afternoon, while leading a group of young conservation students through the reserve, Evelyn paused near a rocky outcrop, explaining the delicate balance of the ecosystem. A sudden, low, powerful rumble rolled across the plains. She froze. It was a lion's roar, deep, commanding, unmistakable. The students fell silent as a majestic silhouette emerged atop a nearby hill. Jabari stood there, his mane thicker, his body battle-scarred yet proud. His golden eyes locked onto Evelyn's, and in that fleeting moment, the past and present converged. He had become a true king of the wild. Then, just as swiftly as he had appeared, Jabari turned, his massive frame disappearing into the grasslands. Evelyn smiled, her heart swelling with pride. Jabari was home, a testament to resilience and survival. His roar echoed in the distance, a reminder that even in the wildest places, bonds forged in trust never truly fade. Years passed, but Jabari's name echoed through the savannah like a whispered legend. Rangers reported sightings of a dominant male lion with a distinctive limp, a healed scar where Evelyn had once placed a splint. He ruled a vast territory now, fierce yet strangely calm around humans, often spotted watching from a distance with intelligent, golden eyes. Dr. Evelyn Carter, now a respected conservation advocate, often received updates from the field. Jabari had driven out rival males, protected cubs from predators, and fathered new generations of lions. He was more than a survivor. He was a symbol of strength. One morning, while leading a youth conservation group through the reserve, Evelyn paused at a hilltop to speak about lions' social structure. Then it happened. A low growl rolled across the breeze. She turned, and there he was, Jabari. Regal, weathered, powerful. Their eyes met once more. For a long, breathless moment, neither moved. Then Jabari let out a soft rumble, deep, knowing, and disappeared into the tall grass. Evelyn's heart swelled with pride and peace. She turned to the students and said, "That's Jabari. I raised him." In that moment, they didn't just see a lion. They saw the living heartbeat of the wild, a legacy born from love, courage, and second chances. Jabari's journey reminds us that even the smallest act of compassion can ripple through time and transform the future. What began as a desperate rescue of an injured cub evolved into a story of survival, strength, and a bond that defied the laws of nature. Dr. Evelyn Carter didn't just save a life, she gave the wild a leader, a protector, and a symbol of hope. In a world where so much is taken from nature, this story teaches us that giving back, no matter how small, can restore balance. Whether it's a lion cub or the land they roam, every life matters, and every effort counts. We all have the power to make a difference, to protect what cannot speak for itself. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more powerful wildlife tales that inspire, uplift, and remind us of the beauty we must fight to protect.